Good morning,
Hello.
everybody. Hello. Good
Do I need
day.
to scoot over?
I don't know. Do I need to scoot over? How about we swap spots?
Want to?
No, because then you have to control this thing, and I'm not prepared to run this thing today, so I don't know how you're feeling about running it today. So, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to Warm and Cozy.
Welcome.
Welcome. I'm Jason.
I'm Danielle.
You're the viewers.
We are in beautiful Columbia, Illinois.
Beautiful Columbia, Illinois. It's a beautiful town, really.
It
If
is.
you've never been, you should visit.
For sure.
And if you haven't visited, why not? Come see us.
Plus, then you get to come see us. Right,
Then you
right.
can come see us. That's the important part of this conversation.
Okay,
Oh.
I'm done with my...
Already? We just started. Wow, that's
That's the last drink.
how that works sometimes, I guess.
That's okay. I got water for the rest of the time.
So Sadie is out today, so I'm playing producer, and I'm not great at it. Let's be honest here. The worst part of my job sometimes is pretending to know what Sadie does.
He pretends.
I
For
do
sure.
so much.
Yeah.
So much pretending. But anyway,
Okay, so we have some people on already.
we do. Good morning. Say hi to them.
Good morning, Kathy and
Hello.
Alvina.
Hello.
Good morning, Julie.
Hello.
Watching on YouTube.
Nice.
And good morning, Donna.
Love it.
And good morning, Pam from Foggy, Alabama.
Foggy.
It'll be 80 today.
Oh.
In the 80s.
Cool. Actually, I think we're supposed to get up to the 80s today as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess all of a sudden, here we go.
hey, let's get into the summer. Hooray.
Right. Let's
Also,
either be 40 or 80.
yeah, there's no middle ground. Sorry, I am just, oh, golly gracious, Ethel. It is also Mother's Day weekend.
Oh,
Happy
yeah.
Mother's Day.
Is that right?
Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for mothering. You've done a job. I was just showing. I'm not
Right,
taking
right.
any credit
No.
at all
No.
at this point in
Happy
time.
Mother's Day to all of you.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, goodness gracious.
Good morning, Joanne.
Hello.
Yes, it is humid here in southern Illinois. And you may even be further southern and it may be even more humid. Who knows?
Possibly.
It's just the way it is.
I left my scissors on. I'm sorry. I was running the machines this morning. No, Kelly, that doesn't mean
What?
that I actually got caught up on quilting. But
Why was that so surprising
I
to you?
wasn't expecting them to be there. There
Gasped. Like,
it was. It was a genuine concern thing that was
Yeah.
worried for a moment there. So, I mean, I guess there's nothing to worry about. Just be careful, right? No sudden
Right.
dramatic flailing, and you'll be just fine.
Right.
Anyway. Oh, goodness gracious. So today
Mhm.
we were going to discuss visiting a quilt show.
Mhm.
Not a quilt shop, a quilt show.
Right. Which
Well.
I think we kind of did this after we went and did the quilt show at Queenie Park. We barely touched on kind of what it's like to go set up a show. And,
Yeah, I really dived into the
no,
conversation.
we were
on it.
like, it was really busy. You should do it.
Right, that was about the extent of it.
Yeah.
There's usually a bit more to it than that. And
Right.
so, we wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about like the history of where quilt shows even started. Because if you're like me, the question's always, well, where'd it come from?
Right.
What? Give me more information.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit more.
Cool. It's fun.
There's even actually more that I didn't write down because there's a lot, actually.
Well,
some
sure.
spots. But, and then we'll talk a little bit about etiquette if you've never been to a quilt show.
So does this sound like
Yeah.
a boring thing to watch?
Why would you even say that? Good Lord.
know.
Stop it.
It's not.
You're weird. Stop it. Stop it.
There's always fun when when it's me and Jason.
It's something, I tell you what. But anyway, yeah, there are rules, there are etiquettes, there are things to know about when you visit quilt shops.
Sure. And we're going to talk
shows,
about,
and
we went to Paducah to
We
that
did.
quilt show.
we
And
went
it
and
was the
visited there.
first time that we had been to the Paducah Quilt Show,
It was a good time.
which is a huge international show.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot.
Yeah.
We spent too much money.
Well, that happens.
We had a good time.
I'm not going to say that one of the rules of going to a quilt show is plan a budget, but
That would be smart.
that was a lesson learned.
Because most of them will take your credit card.
No, they won't hesitate.
So
Not at all.
we were like, we'll take cash. that'll make it so that we can't spend any more than that.
Right. Nope, that didn't work.
They'll take plastic too.
Failed miserably.
Anyway.
So a couple things to talk about before we get into anything. And good morning, Wendy.
I think we had some other people jump on.
Oh, I just saw the YouTube hand wave from Wendy.
Oh,
so
nice. I can't. Why don't I have? Oh, here's the mouse.
There's a mouse there for you.
All right, let's scroll back. Oh, we got people saying Happy Mother's Day and good morning, LaDonna. Good morning, Kelly. And yeah, and Pam will enjoy the info. Yes.
Pam always enjoys the info.
Yes, and good morning, Jackie.
We try.
And good morning, Wendy.
Hello, hello, hello. All right. So, a couple things to talk about.
Yes.
210 Club. We still have a couple spots available.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you want to join the 210 Club? Just do it. It's fun.
One of those things that I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have all these spots filled in like a week. Well, that was not the case. I was like,
when you're over 300 people, you got to be,
we're going to get so many people. Right. And it's just a lot of, people are not sure about what am I going to do with all these solids?
It's a lot of solids.
How am I going to, whatever. Is this something I want to do? I have a feeling that we're going to get into month 2 and month 3, and you're going to go, man, I wish I would have done that. And you can join when we do it.
Right.
So
we'll do it again, I'm sure. It's just one of those.
And then I have people like Pam who can't wait.
July cannot get here fast enough.
Yeah. People are like, what? July?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how do I wait that long?
Things have been ordered. We are about ready to get prepping on all the boxes. It's a matter of time. We are getting there, folks. If you haven't signed up, now is your chance. You still have a little bit of time. What it is, you're going to get all 210 paintbrush solids added to your collection.
Every single one.
All of them. We're not repeating or duplicating any of them. Each of them have been assigned to a specific month. Mm-hmm. So there will be, it's decided. It's
curated just for you.
Curated. So that there have some variety. It's not all just one color. We're not just doing grays and then blues and then greens. Because honestly, there's more than 21 on most of them. So it wouldn't work out real well mathematically anyway.
Right.
So that's going to be a good time. That starts in July. Mm-hmm. The sign-up fee is $2.10. $2.10. Monthly, depending on if you're eating fat quarters, half yards, or 1 yards. It doesn't matter on the sign-up. The sign-up is $2.10 regardless of which collection you take.
And then you just pick on that form which if you pick and change your mind, it's okay.
Yeah, we haven't started cutting anything yet.
Just tell us, hey, no, I said I wanted fat quarters, but I really want half yards. Okay, no problem. We put you on this spreadsheet instead of that one.
Right,
easy.
Exactly.
Easy.
Absolutely. The other fun thing to know about is that you do get special pricing. You will get a special coupon specifically for you to use on our website or in store to get yourself special pricing on paintbrush solids.
Yep.
So, huge deal, actually.
$7.49 a yard.
Right.
The entire 10 months.
For 10 months. So if you decide I need a whole lot more of this, time to do it.
Good.
The other thing we have going on, more importantly and sooner than that, in store, Danielle Palooza.
Oh, how about if we go even more importantly than that?
What's that?
And before that.
What's that?
Next weekend we have
oh, I forgot about that.
Weekend sewing.
We got a mini retreat thing kind of happening.
Yeah, we've got a couple of spots left in there.
Do we? I really thought we were almost full.
We are almost
out
full.
Into the building.
So we sold our 8 spots that are in our classroom and before we even told anyone about it. So we have reassessed the long arm area, figured out what we can do, so we have 8 more tables. So we have more spots. I do have a couple of people who are only doing Sunday.
Yeah.
So we have spots for the whole weekend. We have spots for Monday. Also on Monday, we have a sales rep coming in.
Oh, poor Mark. He has no idea.
It's going to be so fun. There'll be so much help for picking out fabric for the next quarter, for 2 quarters.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway. There's help. There's going to be a lot of help.
Yeah. If I'm torn between a couple of things, I'll probably bring them out and go, okay, guys, what do you think? Anyway, okay, so weekend sewing. And then we have the sale weekend
Danielle Palooza.
And
She does not like to say her own name.
I don't.
She doesn't.
I don't like anything to be like about me. I don't want to draw attention to myself. Anyway,
She's
I
so
gotta
modest.
get over that, right?
You really should.
Okay.
I mean,
so
after 3
here's
years
how
of
it's
doing
gonna
this.
work, right? Here's how it's gonna work. I
What's
really want you guys to pay attention.
Get your notepads out.
All right. So it's gonna be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The 25th, the 26th, the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are currently going through the store now and finding patterns that we have one left. It's been here forever. Maybe it shows a fabric line that we don't carry anymore, but obviously it's a pattern. You could still use it for something else. And it's a $15 pattern. Let's make it $1.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, kind of garage sale type in that regard, right?
Kinda.
There's going to be some closeouts on patterns and books and things that I just need to move out. There's also, we have a fabric that there's 5 bolts left of a 25 bolt line.
Broken lines.
And these need to go, right? Also, there's a lot you can do with 5 bolts of fabric, right?
No, absolutely.
I have been going, maybe we just take this and we show people, hey, make one of these and then cut some kits. And I think about all these kind of things. But anyway, let's back up. Let's make this a little more concise. So, patterns and books, closeout pricing.
Yeah.
Whole wall of fabric.
Yeah.
That will be marked
Mm-hmm.
with a little dot on the end or something, indicate that's part of the not everything in the store.
Not
but
all of them.
these are all what I'm considering into bolt, right? Let's clear this out. Now, you can get 1 yard of it at 30% off.
If it's a fairly fat bolt and you don't need 12 yards of this stripe.
Right. Yeah, my hope is that we'll clear all these as an end bolt, right? But I also know that some of these, you know what, you might just want a yard. Okay, so 1 yard minimum cuts, and if you don't take the whole thing, it's 30% off.
1 yard. Or yard
I've
cuts.
never, ever done 30% off, and I probably won't for a long time.
Wow.
If you
Maybe
do
next year.
take the whole bolt, it's going to be 40% off. 40. Okay.
Pretty good deal.
Also, if you come in, and you've been like, well, they're going to clear out a lot of fabric.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
crazy,
happened.
right?
It happens.
Yeah, I mean.
Don't worry. The fabric companies love to send fabric.
Yes.
And they love to send lots of it.
Yes.
So it's okay.
We
have more coming.
Absolutely. We have several new lines coming. You saw our newsletter with
Some of those I'm super excited about. Some of those customers are super excited about.
Right. There's a new Kim Deal line. We've not had Kim Deal in a long time. And this Kim Deal line is not her traditional fabrics, right? The nice dark, rich color. They're still dark and rich, but they're all kind of teal.
Yeah. I like the teal color. I like the old traditional look. Yes. I really do.
Yeah.
Even though I like loud, bright colors a lot of the times, I do really have an appreciation of the traditional looking colors.
Yeah. So
for sure.
New Halloween line from Rachel Hauer that I'm really excited about because it is so fun. It's so fun. Anyway, it's a Free Spirit designer, and she's amazing. So we're going to get that.
Yeah.
And we've just got lots of cool stuff. Anyway, we need to make room. We need to, it's not so much that we need to make so much room. It's more that I'm tired of looking at these ones that there's only, I'm like, they need to go with someone.
They need a new home. Come give them homes.
And it would be great if there's going to be stuff that you're like, oh, that would be a great backing. Let me get 3 yards, 5 yards, whatever it is, and get myself a great deal.
Also, it is Memorial Day weekend, so therefore is the start of the summer vacation season.
Right.
Yes, you may be going out of town. Yeah, you're going to end up sitting in a hotel or an Airbnb or your rental property thinking, boy, I wish I had more fabric to chop up.
Right.
Here's your chance. Get more, take with you. It's going to be worth it.
So, yeah, and we did also think about the fact that it was going to be Memorial Weekend and that a lot of people would be gone on Saturday. And we do a lot of events just Saturday only. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so you have lots of time.
And those local or not local folks that can't make it in, we are going to do something on Wednesday. Live sale heading into that. So you're not
We've also talked about our Sunday, Monday, what does that look like? That really does depend. That really does depend on how much we sell out of.
Oh, right.
How much more do I have to put out on sale online? Right. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right.
Also, special pricing on our floor models for all of our machines.
Right. Genomics and handy
several
quilters.
of our machines we've had sitting, we're showing them off on the floor. They're barely used, but because they've been here for more than
way too long, they need to go to a new home.
They need to go to a new home.
Because then I can put in a different machine there.
And
maybe a newer model.
Get a great deal.
Great deal. I need to SMC them. Get one. All right. Let's see here. So that's all the fun announcements. Still with me? Good. Quilt shows.
Right.
You know them. You love them. You've never been to one? That's fine. It's cool.
Sure.
My biggest question always was, how long have they been around? Like, when did they start?
Right.
Who knows this information? Funny enough, a couple weeks ago before we went to Paducah, I Googled it. I'm like, how long have quilt shows been a thing? You know what came up? Whole bunch of stuff about quilt shops.
Oh.
I Googled this recently, last days, but in the last month, has put out a blog with history on quilt shows.
Wow.
Sherry Quilts a Lot is her website.com.
Oh, cool.
SherryQuiltsALot.com. So it's a blog post, tons of information. And I found that, and I found it super informative. I did not take all of the information she had because there's so much.
Yeah.
But I have information that previously I didn't know how I was going to find it. So, quilt shows, they've been around for a while. So here's how they got started. Back in the 1800s, county fairs started becoming a thing, right? So we all know county fairs. We've all been to those. Sometimes I'm like, I don't like the smell of cow. I don't want to be here anymore. But sometimes they're not always that bad. But that's how they started. County fairs started as a livestock event.
Sure. Bring and sell.
Bring your cow, show them off, sell them, trade them, whatever you're going to do with them.
Right.
That's what they were for. That was county fairs. But they quickly realized that the women folk had nothing to do. So they gave them events to enter into. That's where your baking comes from, and the gardening and the quilting. So your quilting displays and all that's kind of where this all started.
All started in county fairs.
County fairs. Okay.
Nice.
Right. Makes sense. That's the best place to show them off, because before then, I mean, you didn't really get together a whole bunch of people if you lived in the middle of nowhere. So you'd put your best quilt out on the guest bed.
Right.
We still do that.
Right.
But
so 2 people.
Your friends are going to come over and they're going to critique it, and they're going to be like, "Oh, that's beautiful." And they'll be like, nice hand stitching. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how friends are. If your friends are that way, you may want to reassess your friendships.
Right.
Just saying. But anyway, that's how it went. You were in your house doing these things. So, the fairs made it a lot easier for people to see your work, for people to be like, be able to critique and, praise accordingly. And if you went home with a blue ribbon for winning that show, like, you were the hot stuff.
Oh, sure. It's something to talk about at church on Sunday.
Right? Yeah. Talking about Ethel over there.
Right.
Girl, did you see her quilt? Anyway.
Well, and we still have quilts in the county fairs, and we still
do it to this day. It's still a thing. Absolutely. The longest running county fair at this point, continuously running, is out of Franklin County in Massachusetts.
Oh.
It started in 1848.
Nice.
Long time for a county fair to be in running. There are claims to county fairs going back 17 Pennsylvania, not continuously.
Sure.
Also, another one in Massachusetts as far back as 1818. But as far as continually running, go Massachusetts. Way to be.
Yeah, right.
State fairs.
So, are you going to talk about, like, how you get something into a county fair?
No.
Okay.
No.
Can I talk about it for a minute? Okay, so if you want to put a quilt in a county fair, every county fair has, and probably state fairs as well, have different rules.
Yes.
So you would contact contact
Mhm.
who's in charge of the county fair, and they'll let you know. I know that the Monroe County Fair in Illinois
Mhm.
you have to have done at least 65% of the quilt.
Okay.
So if you have someone else quilt it,
Mhm.
then you can still enter it
Mhm.
under your name. They only put one person's name on it. So if you did it in collaboration with someone else, you cannot, it doesn't, again, you have to have done 65%. If you don't, you can't put it in. That's just the way, that's their rules.
Right.
Everyone has their own thing.
They're all different.
Some have, they'll put two people's names.
I totally just kicked the camera. My bad, guys. Sorry about that jarring situation there.
They'll have,
Oh boy, that's just atrocious, Danielle.
they'll have a VP, sir.
Where's Sadie
And
at
the
when you need her
quilter.
to fix things?
Do you want me to go fix it?
Nope.
Fine, I'll go fix it. No?
My gosh. Hold on, guys. For a little bit brighter. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. Ta-da!
Hey, long legs.
Keep your legs off the camera.
And now your face is
Now my face is super red because I've totally
It's
embarrassed
okay.
myself
It's
all
okay.
over the internet.
It's all right. Worse things. I mean, there are worse things
There are worse
than,
things.
the
My
camera
shoes are
getting-
still on. We're
Yeah.
fine.
It's all
fine.
good. Right.
Nobody got
Okay,
electrocuted.
so what is Regina saying? Fayette County, Pennsylvania won many blue ribbons
For clothing.
Nice.
Super duper.
Very
Love that.
cool. I don't know if I can make clothing. I have never tried. I keep looking at some pieces of clothing in my closet that I'm just not going to wear in the state that they are in. Like, I don't like the neckline or I don't like something about it, but I'm like, but that is clothing fabric.
Right.
I could cut this up and make it into a different something.
You good. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
the mic has been cutting out for a bit.
A lot of the times when the air conditioning kicks on, sometimes the microphone tries to level that floor, so it may sound like it cuts out a little bit.
Oh, goodness.
Other sounds that it may be picking, tapping on the table.
Why?
Things we've been dealing with for a long time. They're real.
Oh,
That's what happens.
I guess because I don't watch, that's the problem. I need to be watching. After we go home,
Right.
I need to rewatch, figure out, make it better.
Right. Okay. Anyway, state fairs were the next obvious progression in the county fair world. As state fairs became more of a thing, more people were able to bring their quilts in and show off their quilts. So, bigger venues, more people. They could actually offer cash prizes for winners.
Oh, nice.
Because let's be honest, if I'm putting my stuff out there for people to see, why not, right?
If I win something.
So having that sort of
Okay.
notoriety really helped as well. It really kind of kept people interested in bringing in their quilts to show them off. Let's see
You have
here.
a cough drop in your pocket?
I don't. I'm fresh out.
Great.
It feels like Saturday all of a sudden.
Right.
So, anyway, state fairs, they became a thing. That was the next progression. After that, the first standalone quilt show from like your 1800s on up till 1970, it was kind of hazy as far as when quilt shows to become a thing, with a couple of major exceptions. The biggest one being that there was a Sears quilt show in 1933 that ran and coincided with the World's Fair.
Oh.
Okay. So it was one of the biggest ones. They ran 1933 and 1934, which was pretty awesome. The winner of those would win $1,000 in cash.
Oh my gosh.
For 1933 standards during, the Great Depression, that's like $18,000. That's a lot of money.
Holy cow.
A lot
Do you know
of
how
money.
many quilts I would be trying to get in if they were going to...
Well, for that reason, because of the things in our time, they announced the show January. The show was in May. And in that time frame, they got 24,000 quilts submitted for the show.
That is amazing.
So at this point, it's a record for quilt shows.
Yeah.
24,000 quilts is a whole lot to look at.
We
I
were
don't know how you
excited.
would even house
We were excited about
24,000.
at Queenie Park. They had over 450 or
Right,
something quilts.
right.
And we were like, yes, 450 quilts! Holy cow!
Right, yeah. So it was a
24,000.
wild amount of quilts. I couldn't imagine, but that was the World's Fair. That was a little bit bigger to do. A lot more people, a lot more
Sure.
things from all over the place. So they'd have regional prizes. You know, kind of broke it down by area region, so at least somebody could walk away with something.
Right.
I did not catch the name of who actually won, though. That's the one thing I didn't notice.
Couldn't find that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's all right, though. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. So anyway, that was 1933. Quilting did dip a little bit in popularity. The reason I say quilt shows kind of fell off, or it's hazy until 1976. In 1976, that's when the bicentennial was, and quilting kind of exploded from there.
Right.
So because after World War II, there was a drop-off in fabric. Didn't have time to do things, like all sorts of combination of effects.
Sure.
After that, though, it really started picking up again. Not saying it went away completely, just less in popularity. So with that,
But then the year I was born, they were like, oh, we have to start quilting.
we got a quilt for Danielle so she can have a shop in a couple of years.
Right.
So that's what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure it coincides with me.
It had to, obviously. With the
Not
explosion
even
of the popularity of it, groups, guilds, all that stuff became a lot more of a common thing because there were so many people and they wanted to get together with friends and do this collectively, right? Obviously.
Get better,
Community of doing these things,
find
right?
a different way.
With that, guilds have to be able to do something to continue to sponsor events or to do things and have fun. So you have to be able to generate revenue in some way, shape, or form.
So they would do a quilt show.
So they would start quilt shows. They would have a quilt show, admission fees, vendors, etc. That way they could bring in money.
Nice.
So thus the invention of the general idea of quilt shows. With that, we have three, well, they're saying kind of four major quilt shows currently that have been around for a bit. You've got the International Quilt Show in Houston. That's 1975. Did you know that?
The Houston one,
The Houston, 1975.
Nice.
A Mountain Quilt Fest in Pigeon Forge. This started in 1975 as well. I've not heard of this one, but apparently they've done over 300 quilt shows. So,
Oh,
anybody
so
ever
they
been to
don't
one
just
of those?
do
'Cause
it
I'd love
once
to
a
know
year.
more.
They
They do several, it sounds like. So,
Nice.
quite the to-do. But Pigeon Forge is beautiful. It's kind of a like tourist destination
also,
type thing.
yeah, the mountains are just beautiful
And it's
there.
absolutely beautiful there. We all know the AQS Paducah Quilt Show. I love going there. That one's been in things since 1985. And the newest one that they're claiming is like the number 4 big show is the QuiltCon, which happens in Atlanta. It's only been around for about 10 years now. But it's put on by the Modern Quilt Guild, so a lot more modern stuff.
Right.
Kind of new because modern.
Right.
But
Right.
like I said, it's kind of the next big and up-and-coming thing to go do.
I do know that AQS puts on more than just the Paducah show.
They put on a bunch of other shows
Like
throughout the
there's-
country.
And it seems like each year, maybe different ones are getting bigger. You know, like they have one in Branson. They have
There's several big ones that happen. That I want to say New Orleans has had one just recently. Which one?
Okay, there's an M State, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay,
There's a big AQS show there.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of in between AQS shows that happen. Those 4 are generally thought of as the most notable. They've been around the longest. They're kind of like the granddaddies at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Good morning, Carla. And
Hello.
Vicky is going to Pigeon Forge in June for the Quilt Show.
oh,
She's
for
been going-
5 years.
Nice. That's really cool.
Maybe one of these days I'll make it there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to.
Immediately start saying, "Get a bus.
Get
Let's
a bus.
go.
Let's go. Get a bus. Yeah. Joy says, oh, yeah, Kansas City has an AQS every other year.
Nice.
Yep. That's kind of another thing, too, with AQS. They'll do an every other, just kind of fill in blanks kind of sort of thing, which is really kind of nice.
Also, maybe that alleviates some of the pressure from the Paducah show.
Yeah,
So the Paducah show is huge.
it is.
As far as, like, first of all, Paducah, Kentucky is not very big.
It is not.
It's not a huge
But during that
Kansas
week,
City.
I love quilting during that week.
Yes. And so if you want a hotel
Yeah.
near there,
Near Paducah?
near Paducah for the quilt week.
You better have got it reserved like 2 years ago.
Well, I mean, I do think that until they announce what week it is next year, you have and then as soon as, but you can guess that it's last week of April-ish, right?
Right.
So we are lucky in that we are only a couple hours from Paducah, so it's not that serious for us to drive and then drive back home.
Right.
That does help with, they do so many things at these shows. They will have classes and demonstrations, all different kinds of things that are free, some that you pay for, whatever. And if you just drive down for the day and back, you don't get to partake in all of those kind of things. So that makes it a little bit challenging.
So I was talking with somebody, I can't remember who it was, but the general conversation was, this is a great show to go to. The big ones are great to go to. Going at least once every couple of years for a class is a nice way to handle it. And then every other year, maybe a day or two, maybe a day. Unless you're absolutely adamant about doing this stuff all the time, then go spend a week down there. It's absolutely fantastic. Do it.
Right. And, you know, you can always drive an hour, right? So I'm sure that an hour away from Paducah in any direction, you'll be able to find a hotel.
Right.
It's not like everything. But if you wanted to be across the street, downtown Paducah, you're not going to get there unless...
So in Southern Illinois, there's not...
What is its face?
Southern Illinois does not have a ton of hotels.
Okay, not in every direction.
Kentucky side, I haven't traveled an hour away, but there is land between the lakes. Like, there's some beautiful country going in Kentucky that a lot of people that have rented cabins there. So there are places that may be a little bit more of a drive, but either way, plan accordingly. If you plan on spending some time down there.
If you think about it, every vendor who's going to be there all week, every teacher who's going to be there all week, all of those people need a hotel.
Every one of them needs somewhere to sleep and eat and all the things. So plan accordingly. So what should you do at a show? Now, what I've commented here or put down as the things to know about, the things to do, are really based off of just general conversation, not specifically the quilt shows, such as Paducah.
Well, I just want to, so Vicki said smaller ones are nice, more local quilters, not as much international. So I did have, you know, I've heard from other people who thought that this quilt show, there is so many international people, right? So you've got lots of quilts from Australia, you have lots of quilts from Japan, and, you know, it's great to see. But, and also if you, so if you want more of somebody you know, you got to go to a local show.
Right. So that's
Or
kind of the progression of quilting at this point. When you go to the large shows, you're really looking at kind of a segment of what's happening in the quilt world as a major whole. You may not necessarily see all the old traditional things that you're used to seeing. You're going to see a lot more of the art side of quilting at the bigger shows. Not to say the traditional ones aren't there, but you know, you're going to expect that, and art is what it is. It's from all over the world, and there's different ways of expressing it. So but if you go to your local quilt shows, you're going to expect to see what you're familiar with seeing. This is pretty common. This
is more of what you're seeing. Although you go to these big shows so that you can see what is next, what's coming, what are other people doing, what's the latest gadget, what's all those kind of things. So it's a great way to get inspiration and, you know, those kind of things. So Loretta is saying that hotel rooms are booked for more than an hour drive. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Or at least within, I don't know. Let me read here. And Vicki said that Paducah 24 is April 24th to 27th. So we already got those dates. So, you know, start making your plans now.
And room prices, I mean, you have to remember that a lot of these hotels for
I will tell you,
before are still trying to recuperate from that. So prices are going to go up and probably stay up. Also,
if you want to go there in May, I bet the price is different than it is during
absolutely.
Week.
Well, it becomes
Quilt
supply
Week
demand.
is going to be more expensive because they've got to make their money for the year, right?
Absolutely.
Some of these places don't fill otherwise.
Right. So you're going to go to a show, you need to plan accordingly. If it's traveling to get there, make sure you're planning accordingly. Same with, like, if you're going to Houston, you're going to go to Kansas City, you're going to go to Pigeon Forge. You got to plan these things just like anything. You're not going to just walk in and own the place. You might. I'm not that big. Plan on carrying a smaller bag. This was a strong recommendation on one of the multiple sites I was looking at. I don't carry bags typically. Now, we went to Paducah. I had a backpack. Mm-hmm. Somebody kept buying things. That backpack got a little bigger than I was expecting it to be, and yes, I was a hazard. So.
Well, I don't believe in take a smaller bag.
Okay.
Because seriously, someone had posted a picture. They were at, Paducah, and we were leaving the next day, and I'm like, oh, look, and every single person that was in that photograph had a large bag. Because you're going to fill it with stuff. So take a bag, and then you don't need to.
Okay, I guess what I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying it's a recommendation.
Sure.
Encouraged. Because
so
you have to remember.
All I brought was my wallet that went in your backpack, so that then we had lots of room for other stuff.
Right.
So I didn't take every little thing.
There is a lot of people at any given show. Not just Paducah in general, but like any show locally, you're going to have a lot of people. There's not a ton of room to walk through the aisles, and if everybody has their biggest possible bag that they're carrying around with them, it gets to be a lot.
Okay.
So
also,
just be mindful of that.
Different places are going to have different regulations as far as like what what you can take in and what you can't.
I read somewhere something about if you're going to have a tote on wheels. Look, there is no way you're getting around in the Paducah show with a wheeled tote. It is not happening. Even big shows like that, they have bag check areas where if you buy large items, you can go check your stuff.
That's what Carla's saying. Take several bags, and there's a bag check so you can,
right,
continue to move about.
That is really the best way to handle that situation. Like I said, be wise about it. And again, local shows may not have a bag check, but your bigger ones for sure have them, and by all means, make use of those.
Right.
So also make sure you wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
Please wear comfortable shoes. If you're going in them high heel, stompers that you got, I don't know why you would do this to yourself.
No.
Don't be fancy.
Listen,
a lot of walking.
You are talking to you're talking to us. We do comfortable.
Most quilters do.
Right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not telling. This is all what I read from the interwebs. None of this is original content.
Loretta takes people out like a linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, try being two with the back. That with you really do
and everyone else's head is here
at back level, so I had to turn very slowly and cautiously.
Right.
I was always looking over this shoulder before I started to spin around. Otherwise, straight line.
Also, I've heard that by Friday and Saturday are less. It seems like earlier in the week are packed because people want to get there first, right?
Right, you got to be the first one in.
Right.
See all the things.
They may run out of stuff before. Anyway, so Friday was had less people. If we'd have been there on Wednesday,
it would have been rough.
Also, we get it. I was so concerned about helping people who were in a motorized cart. Like, here, hold on, let me clear people out so you can get through. I got to direct traffic before.
That's
anyway,
not my job. I'm not good at directing.
It's tough.
People.
It's tough getting around when there's that many people.
Right. So plan accordingly for all these things, including stopping for food. Even if you're going to a local quilt show and you're only going to be there for a couple hours, that's fine. It can really turn into a few more extra hours real fast. Right. So if they don't have advertisement for food,
vendors
food truck,
there, right?
all that stuff for yourself, maybe. Or plan on stopping by the local establishment. It's like if you come to Columbia to visit us, there's several establishments that are great for lunch. Love them.
And we'll tell you about all of them.
We'll tell you which ones to go to. And you can always pick the brain of a local person to find out what's good to eat at when you leave there. Where should I stop to eat? And they'll tell you. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't do that. Not that one.
I was told by so many people before we got there that I had to have the strawberry shortcake.
That was real.
I kept going. We're going to a quilt show, and everyone keeps telling me about strawberry.
Go have the strawberry shortcake.
Don't miss out. I'm like, oh, this is weird. But this is the advice I'm getting.
Right. Of all the things,
like
go check out the big quilt first. Go do over this. No,
they were like, don't miss
strawberry shortcake.
And it was amazing.
It was worth the hype, apparently.
It totally was.
I wouldn't know I didn't eat it because I don't strawberry. We've discussed this before. We're not moving on to that again. All right. This one is an important one. Very important. This is past the bag and the shoes and the lunches, all that. Photography. Okay. This day and age, it is so easy to grab our phones and take pictures and then throw them out on the internet for our friends to see.
Right.
The cool, beautiful quilt we just found at the show. Look at this thing. You have to be very careful with this.
Right.
Okay. Especially in the big shows and in the book, they even have guidelines on taking photos.
There was signs.
There are signs. If you don't know what the policy is at the particular show, if you're at a local show, ask one of the hosts what the policy is. A lot of the times they're not going to have a problem if you take a picture. You're taking a picture for your own purpose and use.
Right.
But you have to be mindful that if it was a pattern that was created by somebody, like they made this quilt design themselves, this is theirs all the way through and through, it could very well be copyrighted. And if you take that information and you post it on the interwebs, I read somewhere that it's tantamount to piracy, that you just stole that design.
Yeah,
don't put yourself in that boat.
Especially if you're like not putting any other information.
Credit information for sure.
Because then it is coming across like you're posting this picture like you did it.
Right.
And it is not yours.
So,
right? So
be mindful of that.
Say who did what. And
one of the biggest ones across the board is no flash photography. A lot of the times they don't want the flashes on there because the flash is it could damage the fabric. So I'm not a fabricologist. I don't know if the right term.
I'm sure.
But I wouldn't want to take that chance.
No, I don't know.
Not with somebody else's quilt. So
20,000 flashes.
If it's a big show, that could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
I don't want to find out for somebody else. So always know the credit. Like if you're going to post stuff, have credit where credit's due. Also, you can't take pictures of them and then slap them on some coffee mugs and make money from that.
No way. No.
Don't do that. It seems like common sense things. Why did they put this? Somebody did it.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way.
Right.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah. That's taking credit for something that's not yours.
Right. The next big one. When you're looking at some quilts in a quilt shop and they're absolutely gorgeous and your brain just kind of goes whoop and your hand goes out and you want to feel the fabric because that's gorgeous and I want to see the texture, what it feels like. Don't do that.
Don't do it at a quilt show.
Stop.
Don't touch it.
You have been told by us many, many times, there are no quilt police.
There are quilt police, man. There are.
There are show police.
Well, like
they are the white
security.
Quilt security. They're the white gloves. If you really want to have a look at the back of that quilt, find a white glove.
Right.
She will let you see the back.
I don't know that they do that at Paducah.
I don't think they do. Just stay the heck away from them.
Also, they have them chained off, right?
You can't get close enough.
But I can still see people leaning.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
people lean to get close. It's just like going to the art museum. People they'll lean and get close, but don't touch. Just because they're there, it's hard to fight that urge, especially in local shows. It's really easy to forget where you're at.
Right. Yeah.
Don't touch these because what you do is you have a pen in your hand because you were just writing a note about calling Sally later on. And then you go, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And you reach to look behind that, and then you strike a blue mark right across that quilt top.
What?
Why? Or you've got your Starbucks coffee and you're sipping it. Oh, this is delicious. And then you reach forward and stumble, and now you've poured it all over somebody's quilt.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
do that.
Don't touch the quilts. Please, don't do it. Don't.
You want to.
I know. There's been times I've looked at them like, boy, I bet that's cool. I want to. But don't. I've not done it. I'm not going to get arrested by the police. Never. I've always wondered, you know what I didn't find out? Who started the white glove thing?
Well, I mean.
Where's that come from?
I don't know.
You don't?
I do know that. So my grandma was adamant that you do not sit on the quilt on the bed.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
If you want to sit on the bed, you pull even if it's a comforter, even if it was just bought a bed in a bag.
Yeah.
You pull it back down because you do not want to be sitting and ripping these fibers. Like, I don't really think that happens, but okay.
Okay, I want to know the source of this one. So if you live by this rule, give me more information. Because somebody out there does.
Yeah, so this
I'm not judging. I just like to know more.
Yeah, I mean, think about like when my grandma was coming up, they were all hand quilted.
Yeah.
And it's one layer of thread, and you don't want to be pulling something loose.
Oh, look at that, Loretta.
You've got a snap on your pocket, right?
Oh, snag that thread. That's a bad situation waiting to happen.
So you always had to take the quilt back to sit on the bed.
Huh.
And but my grandma, you couldn't touch the wall. Like there was a lot of
don't put your feet on the furniture. Don't touch the wall.
Oh, and not just feet. Like not okay. Obviously, feet on furniture makes sense. Sure. But what we mean is like if you're sitting on a bar stool and there is like
the footrest,
that bar underneath is not for your feet. No.
Yeah, it is.
Because all you're doing is messing that up. You're going to ruin it faster. Anyway.
Oh, my goodness. So, Loretta says your grandma's right. It's strange. If I was going to give me the backup on that, it was Loretta.
Yes, Loretta knows things. Thank you, Loretta.
Appreciate that.
When it comes to vintage stuff, you know, I mean, you want to take care of it as well as you can. When the quilt's on the bed, you pull the quilt back to...
I don't think you've ever told me that one till now.
Really?
You freaked me out with the first time I was going over to Grandma's house.
Well, I
don't
didn't think
touch the wall.
I was like, you're not going to go sit on the bed, so I don't have to tell you about that.
Don't put your feet on the chair.
Yes.
Like, that's everything I do. I lean against the wall with my feet on chairs. What in the world?
You can't do that.
I do this. I'm rigid the whole time.
She's going to get you. And my grandma was,
she was like
not as tall as me. But
super sweet lady. Coolest person I ever met. But man, I was terrified of her, and I never had a reason to be except stories.
The strongest hugger ever. Like, you give her a hug and she gets in there. You know?
She's reaching for your lungs.
Best hugs ever.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Anyway.
All right. Finally, last but not least, vendors. Okay.
Definitely not least.
Right? So vendors.
Why
it's really
you go?
A good time to go to the show.
Money.
That's why I went to the show. I wanted to see the vendors. I wanted to know all the things.
Right.
What are we selling? What's next? What's happening? What do we got? Usually they're running deals on their products too, which is nice. Now, some shows, the bigger ones, you're going to know who the vendors are. So you can kind of plan who you want to go see.
Yeah.
Some of your smaller local ones, they may have vendors. So you're not really sure who's going to show up. So, but they're not huge, so you can make it around the vendor area fairly quick usually. There is a little bit of etiquette to the vendors. I read this on some list that somebody had put out there as far as...
I bet I didn't do something right.
Who?
Me.
What?
Did I do something wrong?
No, we just like to talk too much, that's all.
Yeah, we do.
The biggest thing that this person put out there was to be mindful of the other guests that are waiting to talk to the vendor as well.
Oh, sure.
I like to talk, and sometimes I just need to be shutting up and moving on. When you go to talk to a vendor, remember that not only you want to talk to that person for a couple minutes, but so do the 20 other people standing at the table. And they would also like to talk to the other 20 people that are standing there.
Right.
And they're going to be standing there talking all day long. So be mindful of that. Try not to hold up the whole time. You know, if you have questions, ask. Obviously, people love to answer questions. But if you start talking about your grandkids, vendor may have just gone too far.
Right, they have other things to do.
Back it up a little bit. If you start swapping cooking recipes.
Showing pictures of things.
My puppy dogs.
Right, here's my puppy.
But that's
Isn't she cute?
But that said, it's great to go around and look. Like, I think we found, I don't know, so many different vendors were fantastic to talk to.
Yes.
I think my favorite was, I'll have a favorite one. Who's your favorite one? Of the vendors that you ran into, oh, never mind. I know which was her favorite one.
What?
The embroidery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that got a little wildly out of control.
I have done a lot of things in the quilting world, right? Like I like to piece and I like to quilt. So long arming and fabric purchasing, those are things that I do really well.
Right.
Just been in the last year that we've now sell embroidery machines and I don't know anything. Okay. I know
You know
more
enough
than
to be dangerous. But
right, than I did, last year. But this booth, everything was beautiful.
Mhm.
And so then I talked to the embroidery lady for a little while.
It was a good time.
Mhm.
I personally think that at any given show, I like being the vendor.
You like being the vendor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then you get to talk to everybody.
Right. It's fun. Then I don't have to wander around and stare at all the things. Because there's so much to take in.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing I didn't really bring up before is that if you've never been to a quilt show before, they can be overwhelming.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot to take in. Don't go to a quilt show if you got an hour of your time to spend at a quilt show. It's not the time.
No, I mean, you could just go and look at quilts and leave.
Right.
You wouldn't even see all the quilts in an hour.
Mhm. Especially a big show like
right.
There's no way you just plan a couple hours to enjoy yourself while you're there.
Right.
Kind of like going to the museum.
Yeah. Also, it was nice for us to see different all the different vendors and what they had and how they had things displayed, because we are doing some quilt shows this summer.
Mhm.
We are vending at some quilt shows, and so we want to see, okay, what would be good way to kind of display things. So there were shops that had bolts of fabric, so
Mhm.
that you would wait to have something cut.
Yep.
That seemed a little crazy to me,
It seems a
because
little crazy to me too.
I just can't imagine that you would have enough time.
But they made it work just fine.
They made it work just fine. And I've always been, okay, how can we make it easy so
Help
that people
you
can
get
get in
here
and
and
out,
out.
Most everyone took a credit card. Let me tell you about this though. When you go, let your credit card company know that there's going to be, some activity on your cards that day, because this booth is from Washington State.
Right.
And this booth is from Ohio.
Mhm.
And this booth is from, and so when you go and you charge something here and then you charge something here, you're going to get declined, and it's for your safety. I mean, they're going, wait a second, there's charges in California and the east and the
Suddenly
West
you're
Coast
charging
all at the
stuff
same
everywhere.
time. How is that possible? And you just need to let your bank know that you're going to be in at a quilt show and that there's going to be some activity.
Right. I mean, with the day of technology and security and all that stuff, they
Mhm.
will quickly just be like, "Whoop, that's bad," and they'll stop it.
And because it's
Not a bad
computers,
thing.
it's robots doing
Mhm.
that. It's not that so they have to do something to make sure that you can get those charges through.
Right.
It is always nice to take cash.
Yeah.
It's-
Always
it's
with caution, though.
absolutely. So it's nice to take cash because you do have a lot of smaller time
Mhm.
businesses that the card fees for, and we're trying to give you a discount because we're at a show and now I got to pay the credit card fee, but we're getting tons of activity,
Right.
so it all works itself out, right?
Right.
But anytime you can pay with cash, it's going to save that vendor some money, and that's nice too.
Right. Oh, I didn't even think about this. So
Oh yeah.
one of the great finds that Danielle found at the Quilt Show. This is her favorite. This is her in progress. How many of you seen this yet? This is her mini quilt that she's working on.
Oh my gosh, we should have cropped that. I think you can almost see my feet.
Oh my gosh! Don't look at the bottom corner. You guys can see the quarter that's in that screen there, just
Yeah.
to the left of the big block.
Right.
Super tiny quilt, and we found this in the Paducah.
Yeah.
This was
So there was.
Flynn Quilt Shop, I believe, something like that.
I don't know.
I just totally lost track of who it was from.
Everything that I needed to make the entire quilt top was in this little container. Okay? And it was all laser cut. So every piece was already laser cut, so all I got to do is piece them together.
Mm-hmm.
Those little Storm at Sea blocks, that they are 5 inches, so they finish at 4.5. And my entire quilt with all 1,800 pieces will be 14.5 by 18.5. Where's 14.5?
Right up here,
Yeah.
off screen.
So, yeah, but it's one of the things that you're still doing a 1/4 inch seam.
Mm-hmm.
You still just have to be consistent. There's nothing like inherently difficult. Just tiny.
Tiny.
Okay.
Super small.
And so I can't wait to get it done. And really, I just got it because I want to make one. And it's not for the shop. It's not a work situation. This is just for fun.
Just for fun, just to do it.
Yes, I got something that has 1,800 stitches or 1,800 block pieces just for fun.
Just
for fun.
Yeah, that's insanity.
So that was our very first like booth, and I went, "Oh yeah," when I bought that. And then we go to the next thing, and
it's like, "Oh, I need that. Ooh, I need that."
Yeah.
No, stop it.
Embroidery designs, and then we found thread and more thread and yeah, it was a great day.
I have too much thread right now.
Mm-hmm.
I did buy some thread that like is super bright when you put it under black light.
Yeah,
super cool looking. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it just yet.
We got glow in the dark thread.
We did get glow in the dark thread. I haven't used that yet. I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
I don't know either.
We'll see. It'll be fun. Oh, anyway. All right. So there you go, folks. There's some etiquette, some suggestions, some things to do when you go visit a quilt show. Really the biggest things to have fun and just be mindful. With us on the backside of the pandemic, there is a lot more people that have gotten into quilting. You're going to have a lot more new people out there visiting. If you're new on this, go by all means to every quilt show you can for inspiration and to see what's up and what's coming, what's next, what can you try to do yourself.
Yeah.
If you run into a brand new person at a quilt show, be friendly, show them how the quilt shop world works, because really we're the best group out there ever, honestly. I say we because I feel I'm a quilter, sort of, I guess.
We'll let him be a quilter,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He's a quilter. I don't know why he fights it.
I don't know.
Like, am I really?
Because I'm obnoxious, that's why. That's why.
I think that's all it is.
It is. Beyond that, I got nothing else really to add to this list. Again, tons of information out there. Hope you guys got some good information out of it. Hope you know what you're expecting. So
next year?
I mean, we got at least 3 shows that I know of coming up in June.
Oh, we are doing.
We're doing 2 of them.
2 of them. And just to let you know, the Hearts and Hands Quilt Guild is in O'Fallon, Illinois. And they are having a quilt show June 10th and 11th.
They are.
We will have a booth there.
We will.
Me and Jason will not be there.
Sorry about that.
So, when you go by and you see the cozy booth, like say hi, be nice.
Right. Please.
Check on them, see if they
check
need
on
water.
them, make sure they're okay.
Maybe, make sure everybody's been to the bathroom at least once. No, it's no one's
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get people to volunteer to work in the booth
no.
for us?
I'm not necessarily that. Just I'm so worried. We have to be in Utah.
I'm not worried at all.
And they're going to have so much fun
without us.
And
it'll be fine.
Yeah, I know that when we were at the Queenie Park show, we did not stop talking for 2 days. So they're going to have a lot of that. And I'm excited for them.
And then the next one we're going to do is Threads of Friendship down in Park Hills, Missouri.
Oh, right.
That's going to be June 24th.
June 24th.
It's one day. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
It's at the Mineral Area College. It's right off of, it's at the Leadington exit. I don't remember what number it is, but it's like, whoop, right there's the college. So you can't miss it.
Very nice, very nice. So college, that means there's going to be plenty of room for lots of quilts and lots of vendors and lots of things. So
that'll be a good time.
That'll be a good time. And not far from St. Louis.
No, about an hour.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, maybe. Yeah. If you drive
It's just an hour for us. So depending on where you're coming from. Anyway, so come see us at some quilt shows. Come see us for Danielle Palooza.
Come see us today because why not?
For why not? I think I'm gonna do some embroidery today,
okay,
just for fun.
That'll be fun.
So embroidery machines will be going. You want to see that happen?
Yeah. All right. So we got to get ready for the whole thing.
Yeah, sounds great.
We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.